I moved here from Philadelphia and I worked at a video store there, and I was known at that store as being the guy who'd seen all the movies. And I came to Scarecrow and felt like a kid. You know, I look back at my taste and what I knew and what I had seen back then, and it seems like a drop in the bucket. I can't believe they hired me. You know, I've had access to the biggest catalog of movies in the world, just unfettered access to it for a decade, and I've watched myself change as a cinephile in ways that I could have never calculated. You always think you've seen everything. You always think that you run out of stuff, but it's just not possible. My name's Matt Lynch. I've been working at Scarecrow Video for about 10 years. Scarecrow Video is a video store here in Seattle. It's independently owned and operated. It is, by our count, the largest privately owned independent video store in the world at about 120,000 individual titles. Obviously, services like Amazon and Netflix and Redbox have eaten away at our customer base. We have seen a sharp decline in actual rentals over the last 5 or 6 years, a pretty big one, about 40%. The way that we do business has changed in the sense that we have tried to offer more and more things to bring people into the store. You know, like we have a screening room, we have a cafe, things like that. But mostly we're trying to figure out ways to keep ourselves, you know, relevant in a time where most people would rather stay home than come to a video store. I think that what really needs to get across to people is just sort of the breadth of what we have available. And I think, you know, if you took a look around here, you'll get a sense pretty quickly of just sort of the staggering amount of stuff that we have. And if you talk to some of the other staff members, I think you'll see the sort of breadth of knowledge that they have at their disposal to talk to people and to help them find what they're looking for. Over here are the new releases. They start on these red shelves and they wrap all the way down there and back down the hall. This is probably obviously the most popular area for the store is the new stuff. Everybody loves new releases. Alphabetical by director all down this aisle here. The very last one is Andrzej Zulawski, Polish filmmaker. He's great. He did Possession, which you haven't, if you might have seen Possession when it got a re-release earlier this year. It's got a snake monster in it that has sex with a lady. Pretty cool movie. Here's the foreign film section. Starts with Afghanistan, a whopping 2 titles in Afghanistan. Goes all the way over here. Alphabetical by country. This way. Wraps all the way around this corner. All the way down to Zimbabwe. We've got 2 movies in Zimbabwe, so tied with Afghanistan. Oh, I'm a big fan of some of our little subsections in the foreign area here. This one's one of my favorites, Bruceploitation. These are for all the fake Bruce Lee movies that they put out after he died. So like, let's see, Dragon Immortal, that's good. Here's the Justin Lin movie about all the guys trying to be the next Bruce Lee. I think we got Bruce Lee Rises from the Grave in here somewhere, but it's like on a pack with something else. So I'm not pulling it out right now, but we've got all the Bruce Lee movies, the Bruce Lee movies, all the fake Bruce Lees. One of my favorite sections, Bruceploitation. Just a great word. Here's all the comedy TV shows. We've got probably, I don't know, 2,000 comedy TV shows. Every season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, every season of Seinfeld, all that stuff. Sketch comedy. We've even got a little game show section. So if you want to get 40 years of the Family Feud, you can do that at Scarecrow Video. Here's where all the action and war movies and stuff are. Here's adventure, which you can see is broken down into some pretty specific categories. So here's straight adventure. But if you come over here, you get jungle, Vikings, knights, Robin Hood, swashbucklers. There's a whole Zorro section over here. Now we're getting into my favorite part of the store. This is where all the action and exploitation stuff is. So over here you've got truckers, rednecks, bikers. Back here is blaxploitation, chopsocky, just for like the American martial arts movies. You know, like here's all the Blood Fist films. And then here's chopsocky documentaries. So we have some pretty cool stuff. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Fighting Black Kings, a great documentary about martial artists from the 70s. Fantastic. Here's the documentary room. This room is probably the biggest sort of individual room in the store. I couldn't even tell you how many movies are in here, but it's broken down into some crazy categories. Straight up politics. Here's a section just for JFK conspiracy theories. Here's a section just about Nazis. I hate those guys. War documentaries. Here's a section for what we call minds. So you see like sort of philosophers and famous people like that. These are broken down by director. So here's like all the Ken Burns movies. Here's all the Les Blanc films. The poor man passed away recently. Here's the Maysles brothers. They did like Grey Gardens. Errol Morris has his own section here. Frederick Wiseman. We're one of the only places in the country where you can actually rent all of Frederick Wiseman's movies. He's got the new one out right now called At Berkeley, which is really good. Nature. We've got his own section just for David Attenborough, who's my girlfriend's hero, David Attenborough. She loves him. So do I. He's great. Here's the straight up murder mystery suspense section, or what I like to call the 90s titty section, because it's like mostly Shannon Worry and like Kathy Shower movies and people like that. Like this one, Bedroom Eyes 2. I like that. This is the music, which we again, unsurprisingly, have broken down into weird esoteric categories. Straight up opera. Here's rock musicals. Here's a little section we call Rock Hell, which is a pretty cool section. It's like sort of those semi-metal horror movies. Like here's a good one with Paganini horror. That looks pretty good. Pleasure Planet, also called Vicious Lips, which I actually have on DVD at home right now. Looking forward to checking that out. Rocky Horror, Slaughterhouse Rock. Pretty good stuff. Country, reggae, blues, jazz, hip hop, soul, breakdancing. There's even a graffiti section for all the graffiti documentaries. This is probably the most popular room in the store. This is the Psychotronic room, named for the famous Psychotronic video guide. This is all the horror and sci-fi that we've got. And it's broken down, again, into some pretty esoteric categories. Here's one of my favorite section, Little Bastards. This is for anything tiny that wants to kill you, like Chucky, or Leprechauns. We've got all the Leprechaun movies there for you. Puppet Master 1 through 100. We got European horror, Japanese horror, Korean horror, Thai horror, Mexigogo, which is your weird Mexican exploitation films like El Santo, things like that. And then here's Mondo Macabro, a lot of stuff from Indonesia, crazy movies. I'm pretty fond of these ancient Spectreman videotapes that we have. Look at this cover art. That is insane. It's so cool. Big deposits on those. You got to have like 150 bucks to rent that, unfortunately, because they're pretty much irreplaceable. And then this is the sexploitation room. This is where we keep most of the pornography, my favorite stuff. And then over here you've got some more fun sections like Nunsploitation. I'm a big fan of those. Women in Prison. This has one of my favorite movies here. This one, Bamboo House of Dolls. Really, really unpleasant. Look at that cover. It's disgusting. Don't watch that movie if you have a weak stomach. Here's 70s XXX, 80s XXX, 90s XXX. Porn spoofs, and here's the porn directors. Yes, we even have sections for porn directors. Gerard Damiano, who did, Deep Throat. Alex Terenzi, got the guy who did Emmanuel Juice Chican. Russ Meyer has his own section. The great Doris Wishman, one of the great female porn directors. Amazing stuff. And there you go. That's Scarecrow Video. Well, Netflix recommendations are computer algorithms. They're based on keywords and general ideas about content and based on what you have seen and rated. And that's not entirely different from when you come into the store and you say, hey, I liked this kind of movie, can you show me something else? But what we have that a computer doesn't have is a brain and a heart. We have experience and we have a vast background of knowledge, all kinds of different people with all kinds of different points of views from all kinds of backgrounds. And those experiences can get translated into a much more interesting or much more creative recommendation. Mostly what we need to do is drive people into the store to see what we have to offer. We don't necessarily have the point of view that those services that people maybe have left us for are services that they shouldn't be using. Obviously Netflix and Amazon and Redbox, those are all really good services and they offer people a convenience premium that we don't necessarily offer them. We try to get people to see what we do have to offer, which is a selection and a staff that's incredibly knowledgeable. And the thing that I like to say, that it might sound a little snarky, and I don't mean this to suggest, like I said before, that other services that we might be competing with aren't valuable, because they certainly are. But you could stay home and watch what they've got, or come in and get something that you want. That's what I like to say.